All right, we're back with Congresswoman Demings. So much to talk about, so little time.
My head and
And
my heart hurt.
we have, yeah, me too. And I feel like I have no right,
And
but I just,
yeah, Ellen, and I feel like, we as a country, I know the focus is on police misconduct as it should be, because that's what's right in front of us. But when we talk about injustices involving African Americans, we can go to any subject. We can talk about housing and
yeah,
education. We can talk about healthcare. Look at the effects of COVID-19 on Black people. We can talk about jobs
yeah,
and wages. America has failed.
yeah. Let's just go back to why the three other officers haven't been. And I agree with you. It could be there's every single area that there's been inequality, which is why there's so much pain and anger out there. But why haven't they been charged?
Well, and as you well know, the criminal justice system is an interesting system, and they haven't been charged yet. I am not surprised that they haven't. But what I can tell you is I fully expect. Now, I've been disappointed this week, extremely, but I would be shocked if by the time this airs that they are not charged. They failed to act, they failed to render aid to someone who was clearly in trouble. One, my understanding is that an officer checked for a pulse, couldn't find one. So they knew, or they should have known, that Mr. Floyd was in trouble. They failed to act. And they are as responsible for his death as the officer who chose to hold him down on his neck, by putting his knee on his neck.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, and it will be shocking if they aren't on this day that it airs arrested. President Obama said protesting is a part of making change. Um, do you agree with that, and why is that so important?
Ellen, I truly agree with it. Look, as a 27-year law enforcement officer, I've worked a lot of protests. And, a lot of people, when they see a tragedy occur, they'll call and say, what can I do? What can I do? And, everybody has different abilities, different talents, different skills, different input. Protesting has always been a way in this country for individuals to get involved. For some, they feel that's what I can do. Tell me what I can do. Protesting, that's what I can do. And we know that Dr. King said that protesting is the language of the unheard. And when people are fed up and tired of injustices and discrimination of any kind, this is the response of a lot of people, and we've seen it in the history of this nation. Unfortunately, all too many times we've seen the need to protest, whether it was women's rights or civil rights or voting rights or marriage equality. People have taken to the street and said, enough is enough. We've got to do something. And I'm going to do what I can do to make a difference.
Yeah, Twitch, did you have something to say?
I did. Thank you for coming on. I just wanted to ask something because as much as I've gone over the tape of George Floyd and also Eric Garner, something that I can't wrap my head around and something that I don't think has been addressed yet is for us as civilians, um, and even as like another Black man, in that moment, besides recording, like what can we do? Because if we like, if I'm watching George Floyd and I want to run out into the street and try to knock the cop off of his neck, then what does that do for me? So I don't know if you have an answer, but like,
That's a tough one. And I commend the individuals who were there on the streets of New York and there on the streets of Minnesota who were trying to talk to the officers to say, look, I think he's in distress. You need to do something. Or those in New York who were condemning. Um, what we've got to do, and it's going to take all of our efforts to hire better people. What we've got to do is prevent incidences like that from happening in the first place. And if they do, we've got to quickly hold officers accountable. Justice, in order to be fair, has to be swift. And so we've got to continue to try to hire men and women to do the job of policing, who get that they are a part of the community. It's not an us versus them. They are a part of the community that they serve. We got to hire people who have better minds and better hearts. We've got to, as law enforcement executives, make sure that our policies are designed to treat every man and woman, regardless of who they are, with dignity and respect. And we've got to hold people accountable when all hell goes wrong or things unfortunately end up the way they did with Mr. Floyd. We have to hold them accountable. That's how you build trust. That's how you build relationships in the community. We have a lot of healing to do.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do.
A conversation that's going on among my friends also is we walk into a voting booth and we pick a president, we pick a congressman, we pick a senator. We need to pay attention to all those people on those ballots who come under those.
Yeah.
People who are in charge of hiring. Educate yourself about every single ballot. It is lazy of us to not pay attention to every one of those, because those are the people who put in the people who continue what has been done before, which is this systemic racism.
Absolutely. I have to take a break, Andy.
Sorry.
That's all right. We'll be right back.